von orthodox religiöser Bewegung ist, sondern eben das, was oft vermutet wird, politischer. Spielt das in der Kritik eine Rolle?
We take two more questions, one here.
Ben Suat Yıldırım İstanbul'dan. Ben Wendy Smith hanımefendinin söylediği bir hususta bir ufak katkıda bulunmak istiyorum. Türkçe konuştuğum için özür diliyorum. Umarım mütercimler tercüme ederler. Wendy Smith hanımefendi zekat fonunun Müslümanlara mahsus olduğunu söylediler. Oysa zekat fonundan İslam ülkesinde yaşayan gayrimüslimler de, Müslüman olmayanlar da ihtiyaç halinde hak sahibi olarak yararlandırılırlar. Yani Müslüman ülkesinde yaşayan gayrimüslimlerin de zekat fonundan hisseleri vardır. Bunu ifade etmek istedim. Teşekkür ederim.
The third question was over here. Yes.
Thank you. For all the panelists, I wanted to ask something to Dr. Thomas Mitchell about Ikhlas here. It's very interesting as to see Ikhlas, purity of intention, of something essential in the way of comportment of Muslims. And my question is, cannot we say that Ikhlas, purity of intention, is the essential way to be one as a person, and so to be in relationship with God that is one? And I had also a small question to Dr. Wendy Smith, in a little like the first one. What gives the, how do you see the connection of what a community who has a different language, culture, in a new country can receive from this country with the same, and also give to this country? Thank you.
Thank you. I turn to the panelists and ask to answer.
The question about the movement, the fears of the movement in different countries. Regarding Al-Qadawi, I'm not an expert on Al-Qadawi. Herman Beck and Professor Wiegers, they say that Al-Qadawi is linked with the Wasatiyya movement, and these two professors, they say we see some links, some characteristics regarding the movement, that the movement is a movement who take the middle way in the society with its projects and programs. With regard to criticism in different countries, I know the issue in the Netherlands and in Germany a little bit, and I look at the United States and Turkey and the Netherlands, and I think there are differences with respect to the criticism. In the United States, there is not the same criticism, the critics, what I see in Turkey and in the Netherlands, and I think that the cultural, religious, or political infrastructure of these societies, the Dutch society of the Turkish society in Turkey, are different than the American society in the United States. The movement is a political movement. I don't think the movement has distance from the political parties, and it is a movement within the society from bottom up, a civil society movement, and there are maybe movement participants who has connections of relationships with with all political parties, also in the Netherlands, maybe in Germany. But I can't say that the movement has the only relationship of context with the Christian parties or with liberal parties. It is a movement to take the middle way, and it is the main characterization of the movement. And I think that these Professor Herman Beck and Wiegers, they put the movement in these categorization, a movement of the middle way. And it is also the central theme, teaching in Gülen's concept of understanding of ethic.
Thank you. Wendy, anything?
Yes, to the issue of zakat, I'm not an expert on this, but I have also read that in societies like the Muslim society in Andalusia, where members of Christianity, Judaism and Islam lived in harmony, and where there was a stable economic situation for Muslims, that then the zakat was extended to non-Muslims. So yes, I would like to know more about that. And relating to the question of what can people with different languages give and receive in a new country, well, I can say in Australia that we are totally enriched by having so many different cultures and nationalities making up our society. And for instance, the intercultural events organized by the Gülen movement, the Abraham conferences, when you participate in those, I think your own religious understanding and faith deepens when you come to understand about other religions. But in terms of language, Australia has a policy of teaching foreign languages in the primary schools. So actually Turkish is taught in some primary schools in Melbourne, and all the children take that language, not only Turkish students. Similarly, Indonesian, Chinese, Japanese, Italian, French, German are taught in primary schools. So it's very beneficial for young children to learn a second and third foreign language for their intellectual development. So we are very, very grateful that people have migrated to Australia, and it really enriches our life on many levels. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
I would like to add some insights to this
Okay,
question.
quickly.
And you said also, is the movement a religious movement? I think if you look at the movement from social perspective, you can say it's a social movement. If you look at from the religious perspective, you can say it's a religious or faith-based movement. If you look at from another perspective, you can say it's a cultural movement, of educational movement. And the discussion in the Netherlands, I have here an official document, a document of the Dutch Parliament, the discussion about the Gülen movement, and the interior minister, the current minister of the Dutch government, she said there are 4 criteria to analyze the anti-integrative organizations or groups. And she said, I can't see these, if I apply these criteria to the Gülen movement, I can't say that it's an anti-integrative organization. The first criterium is, it is in Dutch, there are groups or organizations, they try to create a parallel society. I can't see in the Gülen movement, they are active in the public domain with its programs and projects. They are participating in the society. The second criterium is the movement try to stimulate the isolation of some groups in the society. They try to stimulate, to participate minority groups, Muslim groups in the host society in these countries. The third criterium, there are groups they try to have power. And I know that the Gülen movement participants, if I look at these their projects, they prefer to cooperate with local authorities, with institutions in the society. And this fourth criterion is there are groups they stimulate the interactive conflicts or tensions. If we only look at the intercultural activities of this movement, we can all say that the movement is an intercultural movement, a movement which tries to bring people with different background in a cultural setting in the host society. This is a relevant document, I think, from the Dutch Parliament, that the Gülen movement is not an anti-integrative organization of movement in the Netherlands.
Thank you. Father Michael.
Is that on? Yeah. Oh, sorry. First of all, I would like to confirm what Gökhan has said about the movement, the Gülen movement in the United States has not been subject to the same kind of suspicion or accusations that you find in Holland and in other European countries. The movement has been tremendously active, not so much in schools as in dialogue centers, of which there are more than 50. Virtually every city of any size in the United States and every university town has a dialogue center. And this has been very important. I can remember talking to a Catholic priest in New Jersey, and he says, our town has been transformed by these Turks. That's what he called them, these Turks. He said, I first met the rabbi in town at the Turkish Cultural Center. And so there is a very different dynamic there. But to respond to the question about ikhlas, when this has been commented on, this concept by Muslims in every century, but when Fethullah Gülen focuses on ikhlas, there are these two ideas that are always there. The one is that ikhlas is an element of the mystery of the person's individual relationship to God. Ikhlas is when whatever we do, whether it's picking up people at the airport or whether it's providing drinks at the coffee break, if you do this for God, this has a value which only God knows and only God rewards. And the second aspect of ikhlas, which is important to Gülen, is in the unity of the community. How is unity maintained in the community? Well, nothing breaks a community apart more than some people going after privileges or ambition or rivalry or competition. But the focus on ikhlas helps people to maintain that unity by seeing that everything that's done is done only for the pleasure of God. These are the two foci that we find in Gülen's treatment of ikhlas.
Well, thank you. I think that gave us a totally new perspective on the coffee break, which is actually happening now. I know I can take two more questions, and I ask for a very quick final round here on the panel. Here, the lady in row 2 and the gentleman in row 2, and that has to be it. I'm very sorry. 2 questions.
Sehr geehrter Herr Hafner, vielen Dank für Ihren kritischen Beitrag. Ich denke, das ist auch im Sinne dieser Veranstaltung zur Evolution, denn diese Bewegung besteht ja auch nur aus Menschen, die versuchen, ihre Umwelt zu verbessern. Ihre Kritik hat sich ja darauf gerichtet, dass Herr Gülen die Apostasie verurteilt, da es nur Gott zustehe. Entschuldigung.
Apostasy.
Ihre Kritik hat sich ja darauf ja, dass Herr Gülen eben die Apostasie verurteilt, aber nicht vehement genug. Und soweit ich diese Bewegung verstanden habe, sieht Herr Gülen in Bezug auf Religionsthemen generell von einer Bestrafung ab, oder liege ich da falsch?
Darf ich
Well,
noch
let's
was sagen?
take the other question.
Mein Name ist Christian Troll. Ich wollte nur eine Informationsfrage stellen. Ich bin sehr dankbar für die Beiträge heute früh, vor allen Dingen Ikhlas, die Spiritualität, also diese ganzen, ich bin dankbar dem Panel. Eine Frage ist für mich aus Ignoranz heraus, wie halten es die Mitglieder der Gülen-Bewegung mit der Scharia? Also, wir haben den Namen Qaradawi gehört oder andere Scharia-Councils. Für mich ist einfach interessant zu wissen, neben dieser geistlichen, spirituellen, von Sufismus und der ethischen Tradition beeinflussten Lehre, konkret, es könnte ja sein, dass die Mitglieder der Gülen-Bewegung überhaupt nicht sich kümmern von der Scharia her, sondern einfach nur von der Liebe her und von der Ethik her und von der geistlichen Tradition her leben? Oder gibt es auch im Leben der Gülen-Muslime ein Beachten der Scharia-Vorschriften? Darüber haben wir noch wenig gehört. Gerade auch die Personal Law-Vorschriften, also Familienrechte und so weiter. Ich denke nicht so sehr jetzt an Scharia als im mittelalterlichen Sinn Staatsrecht und so, aber Scharia, sofern es das religiöse Leben des Einzelnen, der Familien regelt. Dankeschön.
I'm very glad that you asked that question because it will take a long time to answer it, and since you are the moderator of the next panel, you have to make up all that time. So I'll transfer the question to you.
Ja. Meine Kritik richtete sich nicht darauf, dass Gülen Apostasie verurteilt. Apostasie wird in allen Religionen verurteilt und mit irgendwelchen wenigstens jenseitigen Konsequenzen versehen. Auch das Christentum muss sagen, wenn es mit sich selber identisch bleiben will, dass der Abfall von Gott Konsequenzen im Jenseits hat. Also wer nicht in den Himmel kommen will, der kommt dann auch nicht rein. Die Schwierigkeit, die ich jetzt und ich habe versucht, mehrere Texte zu lesen, was Gülen über die Apostasie, die Verfolgung, die strafrechtliche und zivilrechtliche Verfolgung von Apostasie, ob er sich dazu äußert, und da habe ich nichts gefunden. Ich hätte aber erwartet, dass er sich klar davon distanziert, von der üblichen Praxis, dass die Rita, der Abfall vom Glauben, eherechtliche, erbrechtliche oder sonstige Dinge in Verfassung nach sich zieht. Und das wäre meines Erachtens, das ist vielleicht meine naive Erwartung, und an so einen religiösen Führer, wie es Gülen ist, wäre es für mich, und es würde auch zu seinen bisherigen Schriften zur Demokratie gut passen, wenn er das klar sagen würde, aber weder in dem Aufsatz von 1970, den er nie widerrufen hat, noch in Texten, die ich kenne, und ich kenne natürlich nicht alle, wurde das in irgendeiner Weise klar ausgesprochen. Das wäre meines Erachtens ein großer Dienst am Dialog.
Anything on Sharia?
Yes, very quickly. Usually when we raise questions about the Sharia, at least in the West, what we want to talk about is the civil application of the Sharia as civil law. And I have not found either Mr. Gülen or members of the movement being very much concerned about this. However, the Sharia at its deepest level means the Islamic way of life. And it is incumbent upon the conscience of Muslims to live this way. And you find this so much being talked about in the preaching of Fethullah Gülen, down not only to the obligatory or wajib aspects of the Sharia, but the sunnah or the recommended, the exhortatory aspects of the Sharia. I would say is very important element of the way of life that Fethullah Gülen recommends is to be followed by his disciples.
Misschien een general perspective on Al-Qadawi. Gülen is not Al-Qadawi. Gülen is not, I think, Erasmus of Abraham Kuyper or other thinkers of theologians. Gülen, we have to look at Gülen from broader perspective, I think. Gülen is a spiritual man, a Sufi, a man with spiritual ideas and practices. I can call him as a Sufi, as a spiritual leader in this sense. And Gülen is also an intellectual leader, an opinion leader. And if I look at his writings and speeches, he discussed the social problems in Turkey and broader in the world. And he is also a man of action. He is an application leader. I can't compare him, Gülen, with other thinkers, with other intellectuals. He has more characteristics from leadership perspective. He is a application leader. He is a thought leader, opinion leader. He is a Sufi, maybe spiritual leader. He has a broader capacity or broader characterization.
Thank you for all the panelists. They have been very obedient, Sharia or no Sharia. And now I turn all of you over to the coffee maids. Please, only 15 minutes. Have a quick one.